Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan. And right next to me, right underneath me this time, my co-host with the most chefs, Steven Gonzalez. What's up, Steve?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm amazing. And for anybody who's watching us on YouTube, you might notice that there's 3 other squares on the screen right now.
Oh, wait, we gotta
But
look
by
that way.
squares, I don't mean personality. I just mean like literal squares on the screen. So we've got Matt, Shohn, and Dusty from the Soundtrack of Life. What's going on, guys?
Not
It's going
much.
good. Glad to be here.
Not a whole lot.
Thanks for
Glad to
joining
be
us
here.
tonight.
Yeah, Sean's coming.
Thanks for having
to
us.
from the Blue Room in Alpine, Mississippi.
That's right.
What is the name? What's the current iteration? What studio is it? Something Memorial Studios, I think.
It's the H.B. Greer Memorial Studios.
It's the H.B. Greer Memorial Studios in Alpine, Mississippi. Got it. So tonight we're going to talk about the connection between music and food. But first, I have to ask everybody, as I do every week, what was the most amazing thing you ate this week? Matt, let's go with you first.
Oh, I knew you'd come to me first. Probably white chicken chili that we my wife cooked Monday night.
White chicken chili. Is that like navy? Is there navy beans in there?
Yes, there is beans. I know you guys had
That's
this
okay.
discussion about beans and no beans. By golly, beans go in the
Well,
chili.
that was a
Right.
fun podcast, guys.
It's
Sorry
a good
about
thing
it.
you're the guest. We won't debate you tonight.
No, it was
baby.
white beans or Great Northern beans, just shredded chicken, some green chilies, cream cheese, all sorts of other good stuff. I
That
serve
sounds
them with corn
ridiculous.
chips or tortilla chips, either one.
Is it still
What's
cold
wrong with
over there? It's like soup weather?
No, not
No,
really.
it's
No, not at
70
all.
degrees.
70 today.
All right then.
65,
Really good weather.
Not
70s.
Nice. That really sounds delicious. Sean, what about you?
I had, let's see, what was that last night? I guess you would call it chicken chili verde, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a chicken in a crock pot with some verde sauce on it.
Yes. Did
On
you eat it with,
tortillas.
oh, okay. I was gonna say like rice, tortillas. What's up?
Tortillas.
That sounds really good. Dusty? You're on
I
deck.
had a homemade Creole pasta this week.
Yes.
So we
Oh,
did
nice.
chicken. I'm a Tony Satchery's guy, so
Yes.
That stuff is good.
yeah. I mean, it's not good for me, but that's what makes it good. So
Most things aren't.
Right.
yeah, so it was really good this week.
So how is it a coincidence that all 3 of y'all had chicken? That's like the most amazing thing y'all had.
Oh,
Is it all coincidence, I guess? Yeah?
yeah. I don't know. Sean and Dusty are way more adventurous food wise than
Oh, yeah.
I am, for sure.
Yeah.
And Dusty may be the most. Yeah. You're going to find Dusty's probably the most interesting guy out of the 3 of us.
Lies and deceit.
All right. Challenge accepted. Challenge
Right.
accepted. Steve?
So we had steak sandwiches with a lot of like ooey gooey Oaxaca cheese, avocado, and instead of brushing our bread with mayo, we were doing like that homemade ranch dressing I made earlier last week.
Oh my gosh, sounds
Oh,
amazing.
It's just
dude.
like, yeah, I'm still breathing heavy from, you know.
That sounds incredible. I kind of want some combination of all those things. I want like a steak sandwich with verde sauce and put it in a tortilla and chicken chili on it because
Wrap it all up.
I'm a
grill
trash can.
it.
Put some Fritos in it, wrap it
Yeah.
up. Yes. I had do you guys know what a Dutch baby is? It's like a big German pancake. You ever heard of that
No.
business?
Oh,
No,
okay.
So-
not.
I had some really sweet friends of mine treated me to dinner after church last Sunday, and Jared and Tiffany. And food always tastes better when somebody else makes it for you. I firmly believe that. And they made this big pancake with cinnamon apples, sage breakfast sausage, and really sharp white cheddar. And we put really good, like the good maple syrup on it. And I ate enough to kill a horse. It was really, really. And Steve says like he's still breathing heavy. Yes, I was also breathing heavy after
Right.
that meal. But it was it was like sweet, savory, all the things. It was so good. It was
That
so
sounds good.
Well, for everybody out there who's regular listeners, or if you just found us, thank you so much for listening. But you might be wondering why I've got 3 hosts from a really great music podcast on with us tonight. And that is because, number one, the reason why this podcast exists is to break down the barriers between chefs and foodies, the flavor curious home cooks, and just people who like to eat. All those people have a seat at the table, and the conversation is really the best part of the whole thing because everybody has a point of view about food. And the second reason is because I believe there is a connection between music and food, and you cannot separate the two. So we're going to explore what all that means tonight. So, so before we get started, I know folks out there in social media world were wondering when this episode was going to come out because I asked on behalf of the podcast, future and former, did I say it right? Yep, future and former guests of the podcast, what they like to listen to while they cook. So before I read those answers, I want to know from you guys, what kind of music do you listen to while you cook?
It's I don't know if it's a specific type. It's just, I don't know. I made a list of, because that's what we do on our podcast is make lists. But I don't know. It's got to be a jam though. I don't want any slow jams while I'm cooking. That's for sure. It's got to be something that I can, that gets me motivated.
A jam's always a good thing. Yes. What kind of jams? Let's hear it.
The first one that came to my mind was Billie Jean.
Legit.
Specifically that song. Because the beginning has the shaker.
Yes.
And anything with a shaker.
The seasonings
Salt Bay. Yeah, that's it.
I thought you'd just whisk to the beat,
Well, that too. Well, that brought that to mind. Billie Jean with the shaker and Do It Again by Steely Dan.
Oh, golly. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'll stop there and let Shohn and them and Dusty go with some of theirs. But if you're in the kitchen with me, that's probably going to be a groove that's going.
Every time,
that kind of vibe.
When you said you listened to a jam, I was thinking like that Space Jam song way back in the 90s. I could just see that, what was it, the Quad City DJs or something like that?
Yeah. Space Jam.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Steve, if you say Space Jam, all I can think of is Shack Attack. Y'all remember that toy where it was like little plastic shack and you like dunked there was like a whole jingle. It was the Shack Attack. I think maybe I'm the only person that remembers.
I don't remember the Shack Attack, but
I don't remember that either.
I remember the Space Jam. Yeah.
Somebody else goes, so I don't feel old.
I tend to, I'm the resident metalhead in this group, this friend group here. But surprisingly, when I'm cooking, or I do a lot of grilling and stuff like that, I'm not really listening to metal that much. Honestly, I pretty much just listening to YouTube or listening to a video of someone else talking. But if I'm listening to music, it's probably something bluesy, like Christone Kingfish Ingram. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kingfish, but he's a blues artist from Mississippi. He's from the Delta. He's a younger guy. I guess he's probably in his 20s now, but he's got some really good blues music. And it's just a lot of time I'm eating soul food or something that's full of salt and deeply fried because I'm from Mississippi.
There's nothing wrong with either one of those things, sir.
I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
So, good soul music for some good soul food. Right?
I'm making a list. So you said this guy's name is Kingfish?
Kingfish, Christone Kingfish Ingram. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's quite a name. Shohn?
I usually just get on Amazon Music and go to the Turnpike Troubadours radio. Just let it play.
Nice. All right. So like I said, for anybody out there who isn't familiar, these three guys have this music podcast called The Soundtrack of Life. It says you are what you listen to. Their most recent episode was about the Turnpike Troubadours, who I had zero exposure to and have now, I think I've listened to like maybe 6 or 7 songs. And it's nothing that I would have sought out on my own, or maybe, some of it is stuff that I like, but I wouldn't have known about it. So it's been pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah.
I have to check that out now.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of other, if you put it on that channel, what kind of other artists pop up on there?
Probably some Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers.
Okay.
You know, there's some Coulter Wall on there, Shohn.
Yeah. Flatland Cavalry comes on there. Some Whiskey Myers usually.
Okay.
All those Texas bands.
Got it.
Yeah. Although probably Jason Boland and the Stragglers.
There's been a lot of Wyatt Flores on there lately.
Wyatt Flores.
I have to check that out too.
They're
You're gonna give us a good list today, huh?
Steve, you listen to any country at all? Or would you guys categorize? That's not really country, right? I mean,
it's more it's red.
It's
they call it red
Americana
dirt.
or red
Americana,
dirt. Yeah.
red dirt. It's quality country music.
Gotcha.
That's a whole other. I'm gonna have to come on y'all's podcast and defend all the crap country.
Spencer does enough of that when he's on the show.
Oh, not here to defend himself.
Exactly.
That's his own fault.
Yep.
I feel like the closest I get to like country is more like the rockabilly, like the Reverend Horton Heat and stuff like that, you know. But that's just me.
Well, they're I describe them. If you go listen to that episode, you can really tell. Like Dusty wasn't on that one, but Spencer was. We're big fans, and their songs, the way they write them, are very simplistic, but they're very heavily story influenced. And I like a story song.
Yeah.
Charlie Daniels was really good at that. Then you got people like, it's just the Americana stuff, like America and Gordon Lightfoot, or in that type of vein. Jim Croce, I'm a big Jim Croce fan, and so all of his songs were stories, and that's why I'm drawn to him in that sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's going to sound cliche, right? But songwriters can tell a story, and so do chefs. Like this is the medium that we use. It's the art form. Steve, what do you listen to while you're cooking?
It's a big mix of everything. Lately, it's just been a lot of like all that early emo stuff from the early 2000s, like Finch and Take It Back Sunday. But of course, I'm a huge 311 fan. I'm a huge metalhead too. But you know, I don't listen to a whole lot of metal when I'm cooking, you know, because then I start, burning stuff and over whisking and over mixing. So
you just start like rage cooking, or you just ruin it.
Yeah. It's a good way to throw boiling water on yourself, you know.
Yeah. I try to mellow myself out, something that'll put me in like a really good mood. And, metal usually does that. But when I'm in the kitchen, it's just like, I mean, it's a big mix. 80s stuff, 70s, Van Halen, Judas Priest, The Slayer, Pantera. But like,
hold on.
All the good stuff.
You had my curiosity, and now you have my attention. Huge Pantera fan, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Have y'all ever had a Pandora channel for so long that all of them start to sound the same because they just merge into each other?
Yeah,
that's how all of my Pandora channels are pretty much like they're like a 30-30-30 mix of Dave Matthews, John Mayer, and what's the guy's name? Oh my gosh, it's not Andy Grammer, but his dude sounds just like him. He does Soldier. He does oh my gosh, what is this guy's name? He's from Nashville. That's not going to help anybody. Oh my gosh. He does. I don't want to be anything.
Oh, Gavin DeGraw.
Yes, that guy.
Gavin DeGraw.
That guy.
It's all B-sides from him. Weird B-sides from John Mayer, and radio crap from Dave Matthews. That's what every one of my Pandora stations sounds like because I've had them for so long. So that's like basically,
You can actually make Pandora quit playing.
Really?
You listen to it for like 5 hours straight, it just stopped.
Are you saying you broke Pandora?
I broke Pandora. I have large yards to mow, and I was listening to it all day long. All of a sudden, just quit, just stopped. I couldn't get to come back on and turn my phone off.
You reached the end of the internet.
I thought this was like an IT crowd joke, whereas if you type Google into Google, you can break Google.
I've never heard that, but I'm going to try that now.
Yeah. I'm going to try both of those things now.
Well, you mentioned a lot of different stuff. Incubus is somebody else I listen to.
Oh, they're a good band.
I don't know if you. I think I'm about to. I know Dusty digs on Incubus.
I like Incubus.
We're about to go down the rabbit hole.
Specifically, Morning View, that album. But that and also Black Crows too.
Those are what I would qualify as jams for sure. Like if you're hanging out in the kitchen, even if you're doing something really menial, like just peeling potatoes, or if it's like Thanksgiving or Christmas, you have like a bunch of little tedious stuff. Like I think Incubus is like a really good just a jam, just it's good stuff. Not too serious, not, it's not like poppy, but it's like legit jams.
Well, the music's good enough that you don't have to think about the words, but if you think about the words, it really they're deep.
Well, then if you listen to like Zach Bryan, like me and Shohn mentioned, I mean, you can just cut onions. You're already going to be crying. So you're there.
Well, you've also got to have your Jack Daniels close too, because you got to take 4 or 5 shots while you're listening to it.
Well, if you're at work and you're doing that in the kitchen, you might be able to get away with it, but it depends on where you work. You can't do that like in a corporate place. And then
it depends on the kitchen and if you were a chef in like 1998. So there's a lot more drinking in kitchens than.
It also depends on what song you're listening to, because if it's got a good beat, I agree with you. Like you're like, like you're getting into it. But if it's a song about like love or death or something, you start saying, oh, this dish, it's inspired by I was in a good mood. But the lyrics, that I was listening to in this song, it's this steak is bloody like my soul, or these ashes, it represents, my eyes and I hate for everything.
It's so dark.
It depends on what kind of story you want to tell, really.
That needs to be the new thing on the outside little menu, the chalkboard menus, instead of the organic, farm fresh. It needs to be, this was made with, a black soul.
I like that. Instead of farm to table, to be like, this dish was produced while we were listening to, Metallica or whatever. Well, I had to crowdsource a little bit. I wanted to see what everybody else listened to. So we'll go through a couple of those if y'all don't mind. But we're going to comment and judge every single selection. Okay. So from way back on episode 31, I had a woman named Sandra. She owns a local bakery called Hippos and Hash Browns. She says that when she's baking alone, she's listening to Willie's Roadhouse on Sirius XM. So she mentioned that she liked vintage country. That's what she likes to listen to while she's baking. So things like Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard,
Willie and Waylon and the boys.
Yeah.
Outlaw country.
Mm-hmm.
Outlaw country.
Well, I'll tell you, if you Google best songs about cooking, and 9 to 5 is on that list, I'm going to bring it on this podcast too.
Yeah.
The floor's on fire.
Yeah.
We're just going to sabotage with all of our inside jokes.
What about Hey Good Looking? I'm just saying. So, from way back in episode 6, Keith Sedatal was a guest. He's from Quiche Bakery here in Dallas, Keith's Epic Eastside House. He said that ever since he started to cook, he almost exclusively listens to the Smiths. And then he has added Lana Del Rey recently just to have something different. He says music calms him because kitchens can be so chaotic. Which I really appreciated the thoughtfulness of his answer. But I was like, dude, nothing about the Smiths has ever calmed me in any situation ever.
I don't dig on the Smiths. Just not, that's not my thing. Not knocking it. I don't know enough about it to knock it, but just never been one that's drawn me.
Same.
Yeah, I don't have enough exposure to have like an educated opinion about it, but I know what's not for me, right? And I think that's something that's goes for music and food. Like you don't have to know everything about everything, but you know what you like,
Right.
Erin Baumgartner was with us for episode 22. She runs that family dinner co-op business. She said exclusively Tyler Childers, exclusively while she's cooking. That's exactly what she listens to every single time. And then Beth Fuller from the Food Adventures podcast was with us on episode 4. Listens to anything from 90s punk to soul to Motown to 80s pop. She said she's all over the map.
It's a good way to be. Yeah.
I meant 90s punk.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, Green Day, Blink 182, that early Blink 182 stuff I really like. Of course, I was born in 89, so by the time 2001 is when I really started getting my taste in music. That would have been like 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
Blink 182 was at a a pinnacle at that point in time.
I remember I have this very vivid core memory of waiting in line at Six Flags for who knows what. And I have a twin brother. And so we used to be just double trouble to my parents. And I remember singing The Girl at the Rock Show, like at the top of our lungs, probably like 5-6 times in a row before my mom was like, if you don't stop, I'm going to smack you in front of God and everybody. She could not stand it. And it was at that time it was just radio saturation. It was everywhere. That between that and the Dookie album was just like everything. And she didn't like either one.
I was big into Sum 41 as well.
Didn't know if we get a Dookie joke in on a food podcast. So here we are.
Right?
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. This is real bougie business over here. All right. So on episode 5 of the Food for ThoughtCast, we interviewed the Team Fat Kid food truck crew, and I talked to Jason Fossey. He said that they have some Spotify playlists. One is called Prep List, and the other one is called Double Shift. He said that they got tired of working in hotels and kitchens where it would just be the same songs on a loop. It would be like an ASCAP. They would have like a contract, right? It'd be the same music over and over. So he would make these playlists that no 2 songs would ever repeat ever. And so these playlists have everything from 21 Pilots, Tupac, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Rage Against the Machine, all the way to things like U2, Billie Eilish, Post Malone, Tool, Megadeth, and Counting Crows. So that sounded like a legit mix for a kitchen. Yeah. I think you have to like please everybody, I guess, a little bit, right? So
nobody can complain that way. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, at least over here in Dallas, we used to have like a really legit kind of mixed radio station that would play a little bit from every genre. Now they're all garbage, but you used to be able to find something to satisfy everybody on one radio station, but not anymore. Not anymore. So, and then finally, a dear friend of mine, his name is Aaron. He says it depends on what he's cooking, which I think is at the heart of what we're going to talk about today. He says if he's smoking meat for barbecue, then it's Tedeschi trucks, right? He says if he is making Southern food, then it's old school R&B like Donny Hathaway or Bill Withers. He says if he's cooking Italian, it has to be Frank Sinatra, right? He says if he's cooking anything else, it has to be like a piano-led jazz combo. He says like Dave Brubeck or Bill Evans. And he's a musician himself and an incredible singer, but he loves to cook as well, which really got me thinking of doing this episode and exploring like why do we have the connection that we do between music and food? Like I think there's something visceral about it. Honestly, right? Go ahead.
I'm getting very deep now.
Yeah, well, I have to sound smart sometimes. I don't get to do it at work, so I get to do it here. I'm like captive audience now.
We definitely don't sound smart on our podcast.
Yes, you do.
I think it's
go listen to their podcast.
I think I was thinking about this too after we talked about it. There's such emotion involved in music for sure. And not even just that, it's probably more passion, I guess. If you're really passionate about it, and I guess this could be anything. I mean, it could be cooking or playing music or welding or whatever you may find yourself doing. If you're passionate about it, I think it brings up all those types of feelings of wanting to do it to the best of your ability, wanting to actually create a work of art, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the family ties to things like this is what really came to my mind, how these things are passed down from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think a lot of how you grow up and who you grew up around determines not only the type of music you like or that you might be exposed to, right, but the type of food you eat, and maybe they go together. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Not only that, but there's also a good correlation. Like if you're listening to music that makes you happy, it's gonna make you put a little bit more effort into what the dishes that you're making. It puts a smile on your face. It puts a smile on the people that's eating that food. Like, it puts a smile on their face. So all around, it's just a good experience. Like, I always correlate the two as an experience. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like this music makes me happy, so that's it. It's no, how does this carry over into what I'm doing? And how does this carry over into what other people are seeing that's going on? And how are, I've just always associated the two personally. So
yeah. What do you guys think? Any connection in your life? Like maybe growing up, do you have any memories that put food and music together?
Oh yeah. Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jukebox. Back in the day. They're not around anymore, but you wouldn't put what you want to listen to in the jukebox.
Mm-hmm.
While you're eating pizza.
I still do that at Waffle House.
There you go. Yeah.
Listen, peak 90s Pizza Hut was the place to be.
Oh man, with the lamps, like those lamps were iconic, but it was so good. It tasted so much better than it does now.
Yeah.
That's crap now.
I mean, for me, I'm very family oriented, so I'm pretty close to my mother, my grandfather, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my dad and everybody. So we've always got gospel music playing when I was growing up. Still this day, but that was something we always had. And
talking
Matt,
like Southern gospel.
Oh yeah. Beulah Land. I mean, come on. They don't nobody probably knows that, but we know.
Oh, well, it's like which version, which family? Come on, let's go.
But yeah, so and Matt even knows me. It's not even just cooking. Like there was a CD that stayed in our my mom's CD player at home, and when that CD came on, that's house cleaning music. So I knew that.
We did bring it up, Shohn. We were wondering if you'd bring it up.
We're cleaning the house when the house cleaning music comes on.
Yeah. I think everybody has those. I never lived to see her do it, but I heard stories about how my grandmother would do the electric slide in her house coat and her house shoes to old time rock and roll. And if the song comes on, like my Pandora, while I'm cooking something that she taught me to cook, I will start bawling. It's nothing I have ever experienced in my life, but it just makes me think about her. It makes me feel close to her, And there's something about it is like, even if you didn't grow up cooking, or maybe nobody ever taught you how to cook, it's like there's a connection there that you can't deny. Something about tradition and family is like amazing. What about you, Steve?
I mean, there's just a big mix of everything, I do agree with like when a lot of people say, hey, it all depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Because that also influences what's coming off of your radio and whatnot. And I do find myself, if I'm in a really good mood, it's a lot of 311 or something like that. If I'm, feeling a little bit down, it's a lot of like death metal, Cannibal Corpse, things like that, And so, yeah, Dusty, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. So not a huge Cannibal Corpse fan.
I love that. That is one of my favorite bands. But like,
this is turning into another IT crowd reference, but I'll let it stay where it's.
But I mean, I've always just put it all together. Like, if you have a big mix of stuff, and I agree with all that, it just makes you happy. And my musical taste hasn't changed much from like my early 20s. So I'm still listening to all that stuff from like the late 90s, early 2000s, things like that. And that's what I end up going back to. It still cheers me up to this day,
I worked in a chicken restaurant for like 3.5 years, and I learned we had a radio there in the kitchen we all listened to. And I mean, even there's a guy I worked with there, his name was Myro, so we all called him. One of the best dudes you'll ever meet, give you a shirt off his back kind of guy. But man, did he turn me on to some great music. Like I can remember, frying chicken or cooking burgers every day and listening to Teenage Dirtbag. Never heard that song. Never heard of Presidents of the United States of America, and we listened to Peaches on back to back to back. So
that's such a bop.
Yeah, I know. Right? But yeah, it was a really good experience, and I think I grew a lot musically there because, we didn't. I pretty much just listened to metal. I was in a metal band. I mean, that's what we did.
And if it wasn't for the food, you wouldn't have been exposed to that, right? Like, that's crazy how those things happen. What about you, Shohn?
I was going to bring up one thing. Whenever we go to a restaurant and we get set close to the kitchen, the music is always better in the kitchen than it is the restaurant.
100%.
We're like, just turn the music off and just pipe the kitchen music to us because it's better.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. The kitchen can get down. Totally, dude. Totally. I love.
If you've listened to the podcast, me and Shohn and Dusty are friends. Have been friends a long time. Me and Dusty have been friends since birth. Shohn's known us. He's been a mentor to us and friends with our yeah.
He taught me all the bad things.
It's true. But
you done it now.
Like me and Dusty started playing guitar at the same time. We got our first job pretty much at the same time at a CC's Pizza of all places.
Yep. Yes.
And Dusty worked up front. I worked in the back washing dishes, and we had a boombox with a CD player back there, and I pretty much just kept. I think we had Trivium on there after you bought that CD. But Tenacious D played a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fun fact, so every time metal bands come into West Texas, I always try, like if I happen to know someone, like I'll cook for them. So I got to cook for my buddies in Fit for an Autopsy, and they were on tour with with Trivium. And the drummer from Trivium ended up going like to where we were all, hanging out. He ate some of my food, and like I got to meet that dude that night, and nothing but compliments, but that was a very fun night. I will say that.
I think you peaked there. I mean, it's all downhill from that day. It would be for me. That sounds great.
I love this so much. Y'all, we're going to let Dusty and Steve have a conversation. We'll just be over here.
Right. We're just talking metal and food.
Wait, Steve, so what did you cook for them?
I think I just kept it easy. It was like pulled pork sandwiches and stuff like that, and homemade coleslaw, barbecue sauce, all that fun stuff. And I think the bassist from Fit for an Autopsy, I think he was vegan, not vegetarian for sure. So I don't remember what I made for him, but I made something, for a little bit, something for everyone, Mm-hmm. And I've also gotten to cook for like my buddies in Amir and all that, because like my friends played guitar and bass. They used to play for Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza, and I met them. And I've known them for years, So one time they were all in San Antonio, and I told my buddy Philip, I said, "Hey man, I'm going to San Antonio to go see the show. You want me to cook for you?" He said, "Heck yeah!" So that's where I met like Fit for an Autopsy, and like I've cooked for a handful of bands, but it's just something that I love to do because it's just my way of saying thanks for putting out good music, So yeah, I definitely have peaked since then. I haven't cooked for anyone else.
I actually got to I knew a friend of mine. He's passed away, but he was an older guy. But he had a catering deal he did on the side. He was actually a mortician by trade, but then he did catering, and he would cook like where we're at. You're either an Ole Miss Rebel fan or you're a Mississippi State Bulldog fan, and he was a big Mississippi State fan, so he would go down and cook for teams and stuff like that. But he had an inn with it was a place in Starkville, and my favorite band, Blackberry Smoke, was coming down there. Well, I ended up turning him on to that band. Well, he had the connection. He found out they were coming, and he just said, "Hey, we want to cook for them." And so we catered while they and so I actually got to hang out, meet, and we just cooked a big pot of jambalaya, amongst other things. But it was jambalaya, probably some of the best I've had in my life. That was 10 years ago.
I love that. And you get to think about it every time you listen to that music. Like that's a core memory that's built in.
Yeah, I definitely peaked at that point. No, I take that back. I've had kids since then. That was
it's funny because I've tried to, like, every time I go to a concert, I always do the meet and greets and stuff like that. Like, I'm a huge nerd for that. And I've given like my business card to like the guys in Devil Driver. I've met them a couple of times. I even ran into like Nick Hexum from 311 in the airport. I was like, "Here's my card. If you're ever in Texas, I'd love to cook for y'all." I was in Chicago for Riot Fest or something like that, and I got to meet Body Count. I gave my card to Ice-T. I was like, dude, I would love to cook for y'all, because y'all's art inspires my art, and no one's ever called me. So wow. I've tried.
So you did, Pete.
Yeah, I totally did.
I knew it. No, I'm just kidding.
Makes y'all feel any better. I've never gotten to cook for any musician, so here we are.
Yet.
Right.
Yeah. So believe it or not, it's really not a new idea that there's some connection between music and eating, because as far back as the medieval times and the early period and the Renaissance, they would write songs specifically to be played while people were feasting. Like these were accompaniments that were written specifically for while people were eating dinner, which I think is great. If I was royalty, I would pay some dude with a lute to be like, serenade me while I eat this quail or whatever it is, right?
Which is quite good, by the way.
Yes.
Well, all I could think about at that point in time was Weird Al and Eat It.
Oh, yeah. So great.
If he's just standing there singing the song while I'm eating, I guess that's I don't need any motivation to eat, but that would be more motivation.
Right. I don't need anybody to tell me twice, but that would certainly kick it into gear. So believe it or not, there's some science attached to, for example, right? The nicer the restaurant you are in, they playing the slower music, the instrumentals, is because it encourages you to stick around for a while when you spend more money. Right? You're not hearing that music in a sports bar. They want to turn and burn those seats, right? It's loud, it's raucous, whatever theme they're going for. So they've proven if you're listening to high volume music, like 70 decibels and above, for example, in a grocery store, that you're more likely to buy junk food and red meat. And if the music is 55 decibels or below and a slower tempo, they sell more produce. So they turn it on at different times of the week. They have the playlist are programmed differently to influence the shoppers they're going to have in the store at that time, which I thought
that is nonsense. I work grocery retail, and we play the same music all at the same level all the time.
I mean, but I'm sure they paid somebody to come up with it. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, with my job, I'm in and out of grocery stores and places like that, and it's always just whatever random pop radio station.
For sure.
I will say though, if you want to drive customers away, start playing Christmas music in early November.
Yeah.
That'll get Shohn out of there.
The minute Mariah Carey comes on, he is just furious.
So I'm going to kind of go in backwards order. There's no just the Christmas song, that one crappy Christmas song, or all of Paul McCartney?
Pretty much all of it.
Oh, really?
But especially the Christmas
one.
I like that Christmas song.
Of course you do. It's awful.
I've done it for 10 years, and I will say this last Christmas, man, I just tuned it out. And that's very hard for me to do, but I was able to tune it out and just focus on work. And how I did it, couldn't tell you. People are like, "Oh, this music's awful. How could you listen to Mariah Carey over and over?" And I would just tell them, I don't know. It's just
I'm getting paid.
Music. What can you say?
I'm getting paid. That's how.
Yeah.
So I worked in the airport. I worked in a couple of airports for a little while. And at our smaller regional airport here, a lot of times during the holidays, they would bring in local talent agency talent. So kids who are trying to get into the business to serenade us all in the terminal with their stylings and their rendition of Christmas music. And you haven't lived until you've heard a group of 5th grade girls go round and round on Jingle Bell Rock. Just I'm I didn't give birth to them, so I shouldn't have to hear this.
Well, they probably had the voices for the Alvin and Chipmunk songs. So it's broken there.
Really, really bad. Really bad. So, where I was working at the time was catty corner from the stage, just a couple of gates down. I was like, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's when you go into a corner and scream, "Hey, you know that song? Shut the fuck up!" Pray that no one finds out that it was you that said that.
All right, so this episode will have the explicit tag.
I have to do those too. I get this. Yeah, for him, for that guy.
And here we are. Because I wasn't gonna put the T word in here. I was sure it was gonna come up at some point. But
yeah, I was thinking it, but I'm just not dropping it.
You know?
But by T, I mean trivia. Let's have some music trivia. So we're gonna play a little game. Anybody can answer. There's no rules really. Listen, I came up with this in like 6 minutes today. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so it's gonna be either the title of the song, or I'll let you know if it's the artist. But it's a little music and food trivia. So let's do it. This song by Bob Marley mentions cornmeal porridge. Any ideas? Any Bob Marley fans?
Buffalo Soldier.
Wait, one person at a time. We need the buzzers.
He's saying nonsense. He's talking about the movie. He said there's a movie coming out.
If I have to see that trailer one more time, I'm going to pull my eyes out with a spoon.
I said Buffalo Soldier.
Nope, not that one. So
I'm not really familiar with a lot of Bob Marley.
That's okay, me neither. But in the list of food-related music, he's pretty high up the list. So apparently, in the song "No Woman, No Cry," he says he's starting a fire to make a pot of cornmeal porridge, and that he'll share it. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of reggae. Do y'all?
No.
Nah. They're like, nah.
Not opposed, but it's kind of like it all sounds the same to me.
Same. Steve, do you listen to reggae?
That's it.
Nothing. All right. This song by the Rolling Stones mentions instant cake and frozen steak. Instant cake and frozen steak. By the Rolling Stones.
I'm going to get every one of these wrong, so I'm not even going to answer anything.
No, you should try it. It'll be funny.
You said Rolling Stones. I automatically thought brown sugar was where we were going.
That's the obvious one. That's the obvious food-related one.
It's not Satisfaction, is it?
Nope, not that one. It's a song called Mother's Little Helper. So I think it's actually about drugs, but they mentioned food. Kind of like a bunch of their other songs. This is an easy one. This song by Van Halen, actually a cover of a song by John Brim, mentions banana pops, Dixie cups, and push-ups.
Isn't that the
Ice Cream Man?
Ice Cream Man.
Okay, I know more than I let myself know.
Steve knew one.
Yeah.
What about the name of the 1952 song by Hank Williams? Various types of Cajun food.
Oh, that's jambalaya on the bayou.
Yes, he mentions crawfish pie, jambalaya, and gumbo. What about a 1978 hit by the B-52s?
Oh, Lobster?
Rock Lobster. Got it. Ding, 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 ding.
It was a Rock Lobster.
Rock Lobster.
All I can ever think of is Family Guy.
Yes.
So great.
When I think of B-52s, I think of the Flintstones. Because they were on the one with John Goodman, and they were on there. Yeah, for whatever reason.
That's a good movie. I always forget about that one too.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty great. Let's see. So, talk about. We've already mentioned this artist, but not this band. "Silly Love Songs" was the first title that hit #1 for what band?
Silly Love Songs.
Oh, I'll give you a hint. The name of the band is also the name of a food.
Paul McCartney.
Come on.
And Wings.
Wings,
yeah.
Nice, Steve. Wings, that's correct. What about the Grammy-nominated song from 1995, all about the sweet stone fruit found in Georgia? We already talked about it. The sweet stone fruit from Georgia. Peaches by the President of the United States of America. That is a jam.
That's the one.
That's the jam. What about Mariah Carey's first single in 1997 from the album Butterfly? It's a food name. You might have seen it all over TV. These guys are like, what? You know it, though. You know it, though.
Old Mariah Carey.
Sweet Fantasy? No.
I was thinking fantasy. I thought.
It's a food name, though.
Oh, I should know this. Because we're all just such huge Mariah Carey fans.
I can't let Mariah down.
All I want for Christmas is you? Shoot, I don't know.
The song is Honey. The song is
Honey.
Where I was going to say that.
What about 1975 chart-topping song by the all-female band LaBelle? It was remade in the 2000s. A food name.
We did a whole episode on songs about food, guys.
I wasn't there for that.
Guys, we're just rehashing this episode right now.
I've only heard one song by LaBelle.
It's like the song that they're known for. So,
but I didn't think it had anything to do with food.
Yeah. So the name of the song. I'll give you a minute.
You're. Was Dusty? Oh, Steve.
Oh no.
Real Lady Marmalade.
Lady Marmalade.
That was just a total shot in the dark too.
Wow. For whatever reason,
shot in the dark.
I was thinking Mr. Big Stuff.
Mr. Big Stuff. Who sings that?
That's a good song.
Not LaBelle, probably. And that may have been
See,
the 80s.
You say Mr. Big Stuff
commercial or something like that.
And yes, it's been on a couple of commercials. That was by Gene Knight.
Okay.
You say Mr. Big Stuff, and I think Want Ads by the Honeycomb. It's two different songs.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think that's in D2 The Mighty Ducks is the only reason I know that song. I'm pulling that way out from left field over here.
Yeah.
Nice pull. All right. What about Frank Valli's number one hit in 1978? It's got a food name. Frankie Valli, excuse me.
Frankie Valli.
The one-word title that's also food related.
Frankie Valli. Wasn't that Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons? Wasn't that? Is that?
Just started yelling out random words. Pizza.
Yeah, but
pizza. Pizza's the answer.
Yeah.
Because when you first said that, I automatically because I was
feel like I'm in Sunday school. Is the answer Jesus? What about God? What about love?
Number you always guess 7. 7 and Jesus. That's
7, 40.
42.
40.
Yeah.
The song is Grease. The song is Grease.
Oh.
It's
the word.
Wah, wah. Grease is the word.
Wah.
What about the 1979 hit? Can you tell me who sang Reunited? Food name.
Hall & Oates. No.
But to be fair,
Oates
is food. I think Hall would really resent that because they hate each other. But
yeah.
So Reunited, and it feels so good. 2 food words in the same artist name. It's a duo. What do you think?
Peaches and Herbs.
Peaches and Herb. That's correct.
You Googled that, didn't you?
No, he's old, man. He's old.
All right.
I'm glad you come through on that one because we're really looking bad.
Yeah, right.
We got a 1970 hit song called "Make It With You." Make It With You. The artist is a food name.
Bread.
Correct. I don't like that song as much as "Baby I'ma Want You," but I like all the bread. I like all their music.
I like bread too.
I like rye and wheat and sourdough.
Sure about it.
Yeah, we're dumb. Raisin swirl though.
Bagels.
Bagels. He's like in your Bubba Gump.
Right.
Maybe
we don't even have to fake the accent.
Nickel.
Wait, what is it? What'd you say?
What'd you say,
I
Shohn?
said I would settle for a good cracker every once in a while too.
What'd you call me?
A cracker, yeah.
It's me.
Highbrow.
All right. The last artist with a food name penned the 1993 number one hit, I Would Do Anything for Love.
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. Salt and pepper.
Yeah. Dang, I didn't even put that on the list, Steve.
That was good.
That was our number one song for rock ballads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a great song. And if I had a name like his, I can't remember, it was like Marvin DeLay or something like that, I would have changed my name.
Dusty knows.
His name was Robert Paulson. Okay.
Robert Paulson. I thought it was something weird.
Extra points if you know what movie that's from.
Robert Paulson.
Fight Club?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
See? He knows. Wait, he knows. Yeah, that guy right there, he knows.
Nice. So I want to know. So thanks for playing that really shoddy put together game that I came up with in like 5 minutes. I want to know what are your fondest food memories of growing up? Did somebody teach you how to cook? Were you ever interested? Do you do much now? Like let's go. We can go around. I want to know. Everybody has a story to tell. With
Shohn,
food.
you go first.
Okay, so I walk into my grandmother's house and I hear the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
I hear it going off.
Yeah.
I know exactly what's being fixed right then. She's got chicken in the pressure cooker. She's making chicken and dumplings.
Yes.
That's what she's making.
So is it like the biscuit dumplings or is it like the flat square, like the rolled out?
Oh, it's the biscuit dumplings.
Yes.
And then she also fixes biscuits to go with it.
Yes. I'd like my carbs with a carb.
That's
the only way to eat them.
But you could walk in, you could hear the pressure cooker, and you knew exactly what was going on because she didn't skimp. She did it all the way.
Mm-hmm. Started out with a whole chicken in there.
There you go.
Pulled all the meat off. Oh, man, it sounds so good. I bet even the smell of it cooking now just makes you feel like all special.
Oh yeah. And of course, she can't cook it anymore because she's not able. But
yeah. It's like whether you ever cooked or not, or whether you cook now, right? Like it's something so special about those first memories you have of whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, and like Shohn said, I mean, I still have my grandmother. Thankfully, she's about I think 87 now. I see her multiple times a week, as much as I can. But growing up, it's the same thing, right? I'd go in there. I spent most of my days after school. I'm at my grandmother's house. I lived as a kid. You think she would like Saturday mornings? You go in there. It's biscuits, homemade hand kneaded biscuits. That now she's where she can't do that. She does them out of a bag. But man, what a treat that was to have. Like, and still every Sunday or every Saturday morning I go over there. She's got bacon, sausage, ham, tenderloin, all good Southern foods. But like Shohn said, it was the other side for me. I like dumplings, okay, but I would walk in some days and she's got like turnip greens cooking her, like, and I don't like the smell of turnip greens. I think the whole dang house up.
It can make your whole house smell like a fart.
Yeah. But it's we're from the South, so it's not uncommon. I'd walk in on a Saturday and there's a squirrel, a skinned squirrel, basting in some salt water. I mean, or soaking in some salt water. But yeah, I worked in a few restaurants like Matt said. I worked with him at a pizza place and then a chicken restaurant. And really right now, I just grill some. I grill and I got a smoker recently, so I smoked some food. Some did some jerky recently, and I'm trying to learn some on that. But
what kind of jerky?
I just did like a general beef jerky with, like Worcestershire sauce and soy and all that stuff.
Nice. Somebody's yelling for somebody over there.
Yeah, children's.
Yeah,
I was hoping nobody might have heard that, but yeah.
We heard it.
Special guest.
We all heard.
Yeah,
that's okay.
At least it wasn't ugly words. But now with mine, I lost a grandmother when I was pretty young. I still have my grandmother. My mother's mother is the only grandparent I have left, and she doesn't cook as much anymore. But she would always say that she wasn't much of a cook. But my mom always cooked. I remember, like, and a great aunt. Usually, almost every day through the week during the summer, we stayed with them. It was always black-eyed peas, cornbread. Yeah. For the most part, that was my granddad's favorite meal. That's what we had. They may be greens and they do pepper sauce or whatever and different things. My wife's family are big time, like they love cooking, and my wife and my brother-in-law grew up fixing the dressing for Thanksgiving, all that stuff with their grandmother. And since she's passed away, they've just my wife has taken it on. And where I'm at in my stage of life with my 2 kids, she's teaching them on Saturday mornings. We're here at home. They're in there. I've got a 4-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter, and they're in there cooking the eggs, or they're beating the eggs for scrambled eggs, or they're helping put the biscuits out, or they're cooking the bacon or whatever. So they're learning too, and they love it.
That's so special. Wow. I love that.
It's awesome.
And we're rocking out to stuff like Black Crows or whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
Cannibal Corpse. So
I love that. I love it. Steve, what about you? And we've heard a little bit of your story as the podcast has gone on, but what's your fondest?
There's a couple. I was going to talk about how growing up, like around Christmas time, my dad's side of the family would always make like tamales and stuff like that. We'd always kill a deer, mix that up with like some pork, so that way they're not completely dry. And all the aunts would get together and make tamales. But hearing Dusty talk about like going to his grandma's house every Saturday and like having like the bacon and all that stuff, I do remember going to my mom's house on weekends, and she'd have tortillas ready for us, bacon, eggs, all sorts of stuff every time we'd go, like on a Saturday, Sunday morning, and it was just the best, you know. So I do remember like the breakfasts and all that growing up. Thanks for reminding me, Dusty. That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot all about that, you know.
Yeah, you don't leave my grandmother's house with an empty stomach. And my grandfather had diabetes and was missing a couple toes, and that's what my grandmother's food gets.
I shouldn't laugh.
Look, I laugh because I'm getting there. So I know that feeling.
I like how everybody laughed and was like, "F you," were laughing at this.
But
well, you had to know Dusty's granddaddy too, though.
Yeah,
best man that ever lived.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He would laugh at that joke.
Yeah. And see, it's not good because my grandmother the other day, she said, I looked up at you, and you're built just like your granddaddy. I went, oh well, it's coming.
Hey, do you still have all 10 toes?
Yeah, right now. I'll count them real quick.
So when you're Hispanic, you're predispositioned for diabetes. It's just in your genetics. So my favorite thing to say is, I'd lose a toe to eat that, and I stand by that. I would lose a toe to eat some dishes.
And it's on your grave marker when you die. I'd lose a toe.
Oh man!
A friend of mine from church, we feed and we serve a meal for the entire church on Wednesday nights. And his favorite thing to say is when he makes the sweet tea, because there's no other tea other than sweet tea. He makes the sweet tea. If he makes it, somebody's going to lose a foot. That's how he said. He's poured it up. Somebody's going to lose a foot tonight, baby. That's Warren. Warren. They know who I'm talking about.
I feel like I have this on again, off again relationship with really deep Southern food. Dallas is a little bit too cosmopolitan. Like there's kind of a wedge of separation once you cross that border into Louisiana. And it's not because we don't want to be, it's because we don't know how to be part of the South. And so there's plenty of sweet tea here. There's, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, polk salad, whatever you got. Cat head biscuits and all that stuff, but it just doesn't. Sorry, Texas, I'm not about to be a hater. I'm gonna leave anyway in like a couple months, but it just doesn't taste as good over here. So sorry, not sorry. That's for real true. But yeah, I love all those things. Right, a good sawmill gravy with bacon in it, and sausage. Bacon grease to brown the sausage, to put the to make the roux. Yes, amen.
I haven't eaten tonight, so this isn't helping at all.
Oh no. That always happens when we have people on. They're like, I'm real hungry now. But I love all that stuff. And I think, there's just something magical about almost everybody I know has some wonderful childhood memory, even if nobody in your house played music or sang. My grandma, bless her heart, love her to death, and she'd tell you too, she couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, but she had rhythm, and boy, she'd scoot around in those house shoes. And I can't think of one thing cooking without the other, music. And for us, Dusty, if you want to talk about gospel, it was the Elvis gospel.
Oh.
So it's very much like in the garden and working on a building and things like that. And just,
getting Shohn stirred up there now.
I know. Whatever, you had your turn. I know y'all don't like Elvis.
Oh, I love Elvis.
Yeah.
No, he does. I'm the one that's not necessarily an Elvis fan.
That's right.
I mean,
he's the Beatles.
It's interesting putting a name with names with faces now, right? So that's really helpful for one. And they say that you're either Beatles or Elvis, but not both. So
I grew up telling my grandmother that I'm gonna be Elvis. I'm gonna be like Elvis, and you're not gonna like the music I play.
Oh man, we're gonna get those hips in check, son.
It's just a song about holding hands.
Oh gosh.
But when we talk about Southern gospel, like a real big fan of the Perrys, like the Perrys a lot. I mean, I like the Gaithers, but there's some iterations are better than others, and I've seen them several times, and it kind of starts to be the same set list in every 10 cities or whatever. It's a machine is now, right? But there's some really quality acts have come out of those relationships and stuff. But man, like really big fan of the Perrys, really big fan of like the Isaacs. I like that gospel bluegrass stuff. It's really, really good.
Isaac's good.
But all the music, it's good. I like that too. All that music makes me think of fried chicken for whatever reason. Like
there was probably a Baptist eating some fried chicken when you were listening to it. So.
It sounds silly. It makes me think of a church homecoming weekend with dinner on the grounds and some sort of, it was fried chicken and potato salad. So, it's always what it is. But I think that's how deeply ingrained it is in everybody, right? Any kind of music could make you think of a food memory and vice versa,
Oh yeah.
So
most definitely.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Well, why don't you plug the podcast real quick for everybody? Let us know what it's all about.
Okay. Well, we are the Soundtrack of Life, a music podcast. And it was just an excuse really to, we've been doing a movie podcast for a while. We can plug that one too, Man Child Movie Night. But we started doing that one years. We started doing that one years ago. It ended up being just a reason to hang out with my friends here, and like we never set out to even be doing something like this, much less knowing that there's other people actually listening to it. So that's really changed up the game a little bit. I mean, we still, I think Jacob said it. Jacob Roth said it on a thing that me and him and another guy did, Dr. Earl. Lately, he's like, we don't plan on growing. Like, we're not in it for money. We're not in it for growth or whatever. We just do it to have fun. And we, I guess, essentially like to hear ourselves talk.
Well, you've always said it's like, you're leaving something behind that your kids can listen to later. And like, this is the stuff my dad was into. And then they're just going to go, my dad was into potty humor. And he never grew out of it. So
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, talk about a legacy, man.
Life
keep the bar high.
Oh yeah.
So, any idea what the next episode is? And we can find out on all the podcast places, right?
Yeah, I think so for the most part. All the major ones for sure.
The next Man-Child movie night is going to be on Dazed and Confused.
Yes, that's awesome. What a great movie!
And we have a music podcast coming out about Dazed and Confused, the music.
Yeah, I think that's the next one.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. I don't miss one.
Thanks.
So
you're the one. You're the one.
The one. I'm Ask Matt. I'm a shill for all podcast. No, it's
Melissa is too kind.
I really
she is a supporter of everybody, and I appreciate it. You really are. You're fantastic.
Well, I promise I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but I appreciate y'all too. Thank you so much.
Where's your email at? Send us an email. You're like Papa Burleson does.
My email is just gonna say stuff that's gonna make y'all angry. Like I like you too. Like
all right, it's been good. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.
It's gonna be like Elvis, Coldplay, U2, John Mayer.
I like Coldplay.
Yeah, he's
That's
the
right.
resident
Matt does like
Coldplay guy.
Well,
well,
see, I like Coldplay, but I can't tell you why I don't like you too. Like I'm weird, man. I'm weird. I'm real weird.
You like what you like.
You like what you like. It's just like food. You don't have to justify to anybody, right? Like you like what you like. You don't what you don't. Steve, what's cooking this week, and where can people find you?
I'm going on vacation, so I'm going to be pigging out. So yeah, find me on social media. Chef Steven Gonzalez on Facebook, Chef Stegons on Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok. Or go to chefstevengonzalez.com, talk food, and have fun.
All right. And then as for us, you can find us at the Food for ThoughtCast on Facebook and Instagram. We just released, at the time of this recording, our most recent episode is about food at the movies. We've got some other episodes coming up about TV show restaurants we wish were real and food in the movies. So stay tuned for more. Some more collaborations coming on the way. I've had a blast, but Steve, Matt, Shohn, Dusty, we got to go. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.